Hello, U.S. History class. Today is a very solemn day in U.S. history as Americans remember the victims of the 9/11 attacks on the Twin Towers in New York City, at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., as well as the victims of Flight 93, which crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And so every September 11th, they typically stand here. These are the fountains that are there in place of where the Twin Towers once stood, as you can see here. I mean, this was sort of the base of the Twin Towers. And so every September 11th, family members gather and they do a ceremony where they read the names of all the victims of the 9/11 attacks. And so um, I think they might be doing it a little bit differently this year due to COVID-19, but those I think they might be pre-recorded. But they do this every year, and so this is the 19th year since this happened. So these attacks occurred September 11th, 2001. Now, to let you guys know a little bit about where I was that day, because everyone who's a little bit older remembers where they were on this day. I was actually 18 years old, and I had just started college at UVA Wise, and I was about to go to my political science class that started at 9:30 in the morning. I was eating a bowl of Cheerios, sitting on the couch in my dorm room, and I remember turning on the television, and the Today Show was on, and I remember all the reporters talking about how an accidental plane had crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. And as I was watching, at 9:03 a.m., another plane hit the South Tower, and it hit lower down. And the reporters just sort of went crazy. They were like, this is not an accident. This has to be intentional, an intentional attack. So it was a very horrible way, I guess, for everyone to start their day. No one anticipated this. It was a beautiful, bright day, like it is, like September days usually are. And so it's horrible to believe that something, this evil could have happened on such a beautiful day. And this is significant also in the fact that this is the only attack since Pearl Harbor that had happened on U.S. soil. So we had around 2,200 people who died at Pearl Harbor when it was bombed in 1941. And on 9/11, we lost in New York City, I think around 2,800. And then, of course, in the aftermath of this, due to health problems over the years, there have been many firefighters and other personnel that were there assisting in cleanup efforts and trying to save victims that they also have gotten many different types of cancers and have suffered great health effects from this disaster. So very somber day for Americans. And so this is going to tie into your assignment for today. We're going to explore this. We're going to put colonial America on hold and take some time to learn about 9/11. It's hard for me to imagine that you all were not even born when this happened. When I first started teaching, my students were like, oh, I was 2 or I was 3 or I was 1, but you guys were not even alive when this occurred. So it's important for you guys to learn the significance of this and how it has impacted our world today. So this is the 9/11 Memorial Museum, and it's about to reopen for visitors, but it is a very beautiful place right in the middle of New York City. And as you can see here, there are many different things on the website about the museum. This is sort of in the basement of the World Trade Centers. And so they have different programs throughout the year. They have different pieces of, I guess we can call them artifacts now, because they are records of a historical event. And so they do lots of school programs. Here, of course, is some about the heroic firefighters. They do lots of different exhibits. And guys, they even have the remains of victims that are stored here that have been unidentified in the hopes, because so many family members were unable to find any any remains of their family members. And so they have a lot of these stored in case technology improves later on to where they can identify individuals, and in hopes that maybe they can give some of these families closures and maybe have a closure and maybe have a proper burial at some point in the future. So what you're going to do today, we're going to go to Learn, and I actually have this link there for you. But we're going to go, you're going to spend some time on an interactive timeline. This is very interesting. We're going to focus on the September 11th attack timeline, and you have a series of questions that you are going to answer based upon this timeline. So you're going to have to spend maybe 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes looking through this timeline to find the answers to the questions. I'm going to warn you all that some of the things on here are very unsettling. Like, for example, here's footage of the actual hijackers. Guys, and going through an airplane was way different then than it is now. The security measures that we have in place today are as a result of 9/11. Here are phone calls from the flight attendants, the crew, saying, "Hey, we've been hijacked," for example. There are videos from bystanders. There are artifacts of things. Look at the shoes that they found of people. Shoes. Here's a phone call from a husband to a wife right before 3 minutes before the plane hits into the South Tower. And of course, everyone on board died. It was a fiery explosion. So this is a timeline of everything that happened that day, all the way up until 10:30 p.m. at night. So your questions will come from this timeline, but if you're interested in this, here are some other timelines as well. For example, here's the recovery timeline. This is one of the most fascinating pieces, because New York looked like just a destruction zone. It was horrific after the debris and all these buildings fell. And so here shows like how they clean it up. So if you have some time, take a peek at this too, just to get an idea. So go ahead and answer those questions, and I've also posted a couple of videos that go into how the attacks happened. So go ahead and spend some time with that, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.